everyone. Welcome to the Best Friends Club Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Fizz.
And my name is Charlotte.
And
Hi.
today, hi, just like a little meek hi. Welcome to our 18th episode. Oh my god.
Whoop. How
And,
exciting.
whoop, whoop.
Our
Very exciting.
podcast can now legally drink in the UK.
In the UK and in a lot,
Yes.
not where I am, but yes, in a lot of places,
in
it
other
can.
countries.
Yes.
They're officially an adult. They can drive a car now. It's all good.
They can vote. It's all good. Yeah.
They can vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
And today's
exciting.
episode is a very, very, very iconic video. It's honestly like the start of like just an iconic
Of so many
series, I
videos
would
to
say.
come. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a monumental video in Dan and Phil's history.
Yes. It's a Manchester day in the life. It's day in the life of Phil and Dan.
Yes, we have to make
Different
that
order.
very clear.
Yeah. Yeah. They were not Dan and Phil yet. They're Phil and Dan for some reason.
And I feel like this definitely comes across in the video because it definitely feels like it's more of a Phil video and Dan's there than a Dan and Phil video.
Yes, it's like a Phil featuring Dan, 100%. But I think I should have noted it down, but I think there was some either in this video or another video they were like, oh, it'll be like another Phil and Dan day in the life, or Dan and Phil on Dan's channel, and it just sort of ended up always being Dan and Phil for everything. Yeah.
It just flows better. It flows off the tongue better.
Yeah, it really sounds better. But yeah, so this video was uploaded. We're in 2012 now, by the way. We're in the future.
Yeah, happy
We are
2012.
months ahead. Happy 2012. The last piece of joint content on either of the channels that we got that wasn't like super amazing project was the Christmas cookies episode. So,
Yeah,
whoa.
which was, whole like 4 months, which is
4
crazy.
months? Yeah.
4 months, yeah.
Wow.
To think we've gone longer now without joint content as well.
That is crazy. Oh my god. That is actually like really crazy. And now we're just getting them
people,
like
yeah. And the people of 2011 and 2012 were still getting the joint content because we had super amazing projects still. So
it
wasn't even a drought. True. They were full. They were being stuffed to the brim with joint content.
Yeah, this was the start, I think. 2011, 2012 was when joint branding sort of took form, but wasn't there yet.
Definitely. And we should note as well, 2012 was the year that we both sort of officially started watching Dan and Phil and sort of dipped our toes into the fandom.
Yes. I'm not there yet. Mine is more in the fall times, but I believe you started watching them in the summer.
Yes. So we're edging ever closer to my
Charlotte's Fanny era.
My Fanny era. That's still ongoing, clearly.
We're still here. Oh my god. I don't know if you want to keep this in, but like after Phil's tweet today, I was just like, I genuinely wish I could have my memory erased and not be aware of Dan and Phil's existence. Like, how dare you?
Lots of people feel like that, honestly.
You're right. In case someone's listening to this ages later, we're talking about Phil's seriously, imagine this tweet. Just like search for it, you'll find it. It's horrible. He's a horrible man.
Ruined my life. They shouldn't know about things, and even if they do know about things, they don't need to tell us that they know about them.
Yeah,
that's my stance on that.
Same. We're on the same page on that. Okay, let's start with the video though.
Uploaded on the 17th of March 2012. And as we were just discussing, it was filmed the day before, which is insane, to be honest, that I suppose it's not, but they did film this video and then edit it so quickly to get it up for the next day.
Yeah.
And I have a few tweets from Phil at the time
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Please tell us what the history
So,
of this week is.
welcome to this week's funny history lesson. So Phil had tweeted that this is verbatim Phil saying, currently the vid is 15 minutes long. Gotta cut it down a bit. Sorry if it's a bit late tonight. You'll understand when you see it. And I think you sent me this tweet as well. The fact that he's sort of preparing us that it's going to be 15 minutes as if that's like a, oh my God, guys, like, this is going to be so long. And
I
like compared to
know.
the videos that we have had, that's nothing.
Nothing. In that era, I guess like it is kind of long, but nothing. It's even like with their vlogs and stuff. We've had longer vlogs. Um, but yeah, 15 minutes. He actually cut it down to 14 and a bit minutes, and I'm quite sad. I want
Yeah.
a minute of content more, please. What did you cut out, Phil? Please check
Yeah,
your
what
hard
did he
drive.
cut out? Because the video was 14 minutes and 55 seconds long. So, like,
Oh,
what what did he cut out? Or was there nothing that he cut out? Did we literally see everything?
I guess because there's nothing that could be like there's no like suspicious cutouts or anything. Not that we know of. His editing style was
No.
very like cut paste, cut paste. Um, but yeah.
So some other
So
notes for Funny History Month. Funny History
mhm.
Month. That should not be a thing. That should not be a thing. The
Yeah.
Funny History section of our podcast. So when Phil uploaded this, he was in his Pumaved era, if you remember that. So that is Phil makes a video every day for a week for the uninitiated among you. And I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
that this was uploaded as part of it.
Whoa. So it wasn't even like a big thing. He was just like, oh, I'm gonna film a day and sort of like get into the swing of things of this
Yeah.
everyday.
I think it was anyway. He'd like mentioned Pumaved in like the description, and it was
Mm-mm.
around like all of
Yeah.
his other videos that he was tweeting about, so I think that it was part of it. Don't quote me on that. I also had a look through some of Phil's other tweets from the time. Phil was going to the gym in this month for some
Whoa.
reason. He was in his gym era.
He was in the gym.
Clearly
Yeah.
lasted a really long time.
Clearly, and also randomly in March because you'd expect them to do it in January when they're doing their resolutions and stuff, and then sort of give up.
Yeah, I mean, unless they were going from January, but I only looked at his March tweets. I didn't do a full back catalogue.
No, same. I only looked at like the week of upload. You also see, so if we're gonna, okay, that's a bit later, but um, at one point in the vlog, he does tweet something and he shows his Twitter. And like
Yes.
old Twitter looked so like it's so different.
Bizarre. It's
So
weird.
like it's so weird. It honestly felt like because 2012 and like the camera quality doesn't make it feel like it's that long ago, and then you see his Twitter and you're like, oh my god, that's what it looked like. That's literally a billion years ago. But yeah,
And
so
yeah.
yeah, we can start
And then my
the
last note
oh
for the Funny History Month part of the podcast is that so this month, well, we find out in the video, which I didn't click until afterwards because I searched his tweets before watching the video. Obviously, they were getting some dollars to go to America, and they were going to America to go to Playlist Live, and this was their first ever Playlist Live,
woo, that's very cool.
which
That
is
makes sense.
exciting for them.
Yes, it
Also,
is.
Phil had tweeted around this time saying he should start thinking about what we're going to do on stage for 15 minutes because I think they had like a 15-minute set at Playlist Live, which I found video footage of. So if anyone wants us to react to that and watch that on the podcast, then we could do that because I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen that. I think I've seen pictures from the playlist live that they did in 2012, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen what they actually did. Whoa, that's cool.
I'm so excited. If people are interested, I would love to do sort of a whole, not, it wouldn't be like a super long episode, but a whole sort of episode about Dan and Phil going to YouTube conventions because I've
That's a
got so
niche.
much to talk about. Like, when I sort of got into them, I suppose the same for you as well, like that was our main source of sort of content of them out and about in the wild and like people meeting them. And it was just such a huge event, like in the fandom, whenever they went to like a YouTube convention and did meet and greets and did stuff. Like I've got so many memories, and if people want us to discuss that, then yeah, we
Yeah,
could do
that would
that.
be
That'd be
so
fun.
cool. That'd be so fun. Especially as someone who like has not met them and hasn't been to any convention. But you have like I have you done like Summer in the City and stuff like that?
I've never been to Summer in the City, but I've been to VidCon in 2020 where I met Phil, because Phil was the only one there.
Oh right, yes. I remember that. That was very cool.
So yeah, I mean, I say let us know if you want us to make that. We'll probably make it anyway, but yeah, I think that'd be a good episode.
I think that would be a really good episode. So we can do that. Shall we get into the video?
Yes, let's get into the video.
All right. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is apparently early for. Or I think, did he say he slept in? In my notes, I've said 10 a.m. is so early. I'm not sure if this is my note or Phil, because 10 a.m. is early for me. As someone who
Wow.
wakes up
See,
like
10 a.m. is sort of like
sleeping
10
time.
a.m. is like mid-morning for me.
I don't
I'm
know,
an
like,
early riser.
Good for you. I wish I was. I slept in today. It was my first day at work at a new job and I slept in. So body clearly isn't ready for that.
I think just
There's
my
like
years of having to go to a job where I have to be up early,
early.
that's just who I am.
Mm,
I'm an early
yeah,
riser.
yeah.
So my first
I'm
note was about the fact that, as far as I'm aware, and definitely in the context of all the videos that we've watched on this podcast, this is our first like Dan and Phil vlog, and like that's not a sort of a sit down, loosely scripted video. Like it's our
yes.
first glimpse of them in their like natural habitat, their natural form, and just seeing them existing and not seeing them in like amazing Phil Dan is not on fire mode.
Yes, I think you're right. Unless like, I mean, the only time like I feel like they were like at their most natural was like first spin-off, but that's not relevant. Oh, the tree
You've definitely
though.
had like snippets. Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is longer
Yeah, that's what
form.
I
Like they're
think,
just
like
living.
snippets.
Yeah. This is us like seeing them from morning to night, just being in their like little domestic bubble. You're right. Um, but I think they had like planned to film the day because when Phil goes and like knocks on Dan's door, Dan's like, "Is this the day we're filming everything?" So I think this was a plan that maybe this was something that Phil wanted to do in
Yeah,
Vid
from
Fa.
a red foul.
That's such a hard thing to say. Um, so I think that was something that he said, like, "Hey, one day I'm just gonna come in and shove a camera in your face, and you have to be okay with that." My next note is about hiding the cereal.
Yeah, I
Yes,
get the beginning of the Phil and his serial lore. This is where it
I
all
feel.
began.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we hear about it, and then years on, it continues. I don't understand why they don't just like buy a big box of cereal. They do in the vlog, but
It's
like,
like the Jordan's Country Crisps, though. I believe that's the biggest box that they do of that cereal. There is no bigger box.
oh, that's fair. And at this
So,
point, they're not like gonna buy two boxes of cereal. That's fair.
no.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cereal, should we move on to the most iconic quote of this video of just everything that. And I don't know why it's such a sort of like iconic thing, but it
The
is. So
it is,
they get their
yeah.
Tesco order, and Phil's. Well, I was going to say accidentally bought, but he hasn't accidentally bought it. He knew what he was buying. The 1
100%.
kilogram box of Shreddies, and Dan's comment about them not being a family of 10, which, do you know what? Fair enough.
Fair enough. He's
They're
not
not a
wrong.
family of 10. That is
or
a lot of
family
shreddies.
feud.
I also think that that's such a huge amount to buy of shreddies in particular, because shreddies are very bland. Like they don't have a whole lot of flavor.
I
So that's
think
like a lot of kilograms to buy of a
just
very
the one
boring
kilogram.
cereal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the point is like they're kind of like cornflakes, where they are the. I mean, if you're not Dan and Phil, which I'm assuming they don't like top their cereal with anything but milk. I think they're like a
Hmm.
base for fruit and honey and all that shit. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't
I'm not
think
doing that with my shreddies.
I'm not doing that either. But Phil does put in sugary wheats
Yeah,
with it,
frosted wheats. He does
frosted
his own
wheats.
little. Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart and very expected. That's a very Phil thing to do, to just like add sugar
Yeah.
to his cereal. Yeah.
This is also a good time to mention as well that they bring they brought the shreddies up in this whole thing in one of their newest gaming videos, which was a real throwback and sort of whiplash of watching a 2023 Dan and Phil Games video, which still sounds like an insane sentence to say, and
It does.
hearing them talk about this tiny little clip from a 2012 day in the life.
It's just I'm constantly shocked. I feel like what this new era has brought in is like they like their own lives are just as much living in their heads rent free as they are like ours.
As they should be. They should
As they
also
should
suffer.
be. They really like they just bring up shit and then they are just shocked that they remember all of it. They're just like, whoa, that's like lore
I
that is
think
deep.
I presume it was the Roblox video. I think that this was brought up in the fact that they were so surprised that people knew what the layout of their flat was, as if they didn't show us the exact floor plan and
Yeah,
literally show us every single corner of that flat.
yeah,
Like, of
especially
course, we know
the
what it looks like.
yeah, of course. Like as they did like dedicated flat door videos for both of them, first of all, and they have
Yeah.
filmed every single corner of at least a London flat. Like we've seen that
Hmm.
entire apartment from like wall to wall.
And they're sat there like, wow, it's amazing. Are you guys stalking us? How do you know where we live? How do you know exactly what our flat looked like?
God. They have like after moving out of Manchester, at least like they've shown the building and stuff very openly, so anyone could have gone and looked at the listing, even if they didn't know the layout. It's like very
Yeah.
easy. Like
Yeah.
don't be, don't be dumb. Oh, I
Anyway,
wanted
back to
to
2012.
back to 2012. I wanted to bring up they have a shot of I think Phil's making him coffee, and we have a shot of their mug
Yes.
collection, which
Oh, yeah.
has over the years has just become a monster of its own and just become part of Dan and Phil lore and the universe as a whole. Like we just know what some of these mugs look like and they are iconic in our minds. Like
Yeah. I
so I
hope that
want
Phil still has that Phil mug.
the Phil. Oh yeah, same. I hope.
The mug
Okay,
that he
so
used in the video.
yeah. I know. I forgot for a second. I was like, what? Um, I want to ask you since I was gonna bring it up. Do you have a favorite mug from their collection?
It's not really something I've thought about a whole lot. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay. You don't think
Sorry to disappoint.
I should say I have a lot of mugs and I live alone, so it makes sense that I am thinking about this and you aren't. It's like not a very normal
That's
thing to think
fair.
about. Yeah.
Um, no, I don't think I have a. I like the Rubik's Cube one that Dan uses in that one video. The title escapes me.
I know exactly which one you
That's really
again.
stressful because he's talking and he's holding it,
And it's
and
like
I
kind
think
of
I remember
fallen.
lots of people talking about, yeah, it's really
Yeah.
full. I remember lots of people being like, how is this not spilling all over the floor?
Yeah, same. The video's not coming to mind, but that one. I really love. There's this one mug that comes that we see in the future, and it says Dan and Phil best buds forever or something like that.
Oh,
And I think it was
yes,
a
I remember
gift.
that one.
I would hope it's a gift and not something that they went out and were like, "Can you print
I
this?"
presume that was a
I
gift.
do, yeah, same. But it's so cute, and I wonder who has custody over it, or if, I mean, maybe they just like use whatever mug they want. But
Maybe.
it's such a cute little
That
gift.
also, yeah, that
Yeah,
also reminds me of the I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it's something like number one daddy mug that Phil has or has used.
he does.
Do you remember? Yeah. Oh my god, do you not remember this?
No, wait,
I
that's
promise you, this is an actual mug. I'm gonna have to try
wait.
and
I
find some content.
okay. No, no, no.
He has it. I think he uses it in like some sort of tabbing off promo video.
Whoa. In like 2015, he was holding like a number one daddy mug.
It's something like that. Oh, I found it. I found the screenshot. This is live reaction, guys.
Oh my god, show me,
Yeah,
show me.
it says. Oh, it's not. Oh, world's best daddy.
Oh my
I'm gonna
god.
send Fizz the screenshot right now. I'm sorry that you can't see this, but if you just
Yeah.
Google "Amazing Phil Daddy Mug," it will come up.
I was a bit concerned. I was like, I really don't want to be searching Amazing Fell Daddy. Um,
There you go. I've sent it to you, Fizz. In our
okay.
little Discord chat.
Oh my god! The Amazing. No! That's a really cool mug, actually. I do. Okay, yeah. I
You
do
have memories of
remember.
that.
Yes, I do. I do. Christ. He's not wrong. And he did get an
Yeah,
official.
I
He
agree.
did get an official Dilf cake this year.
So it's true. He's always been the world's best daddy.
Daddy. Hmm. What an unfortunate sentence.
Anyway, enough about mugs.
Yeah.
And my next note is about, I don't know if you noticed, it's just something I picked up on. Dan doesn't have a MacBook yet. When you see him sat on the sofa, he's still using just like a normal laptop. There is
Whoa,
no
I
little
didn't.
MacBook. Well, there you go. Some law. Dan law.
So he wasn't always like a full on Apple kid. Makes
No, he wasn't.
sense. Makes sense. But Phil does. Like Phil has always had a MacBook, I think.
Yeah. Also, I think Phil has definitely got more money at this point than Dan has. So that makes
Oh yeah.
sense.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah. My next note after that is his like multiple towels return. I think he like does a little transition after
Yes.
taking a shower. So he does like use a billion towels. It wasn't just epic prank off.
Yeah.
Where he
I
did.
wrote the exact quote. He says, I spend large amounts of my time playing iPhone games whilst wearing a towel. I was like, here we are, Phil and his towels making their glorious return to the podcast.
God, I think the more we go on, like, I think they're gonna like stick as just like part of the podcast.
The towels and the Robert Pattinson mask are official friends of the podcast.
Friends of the podcast. And also he's got mismatched socks on.
He does.
This has stayed amazing for branding like well into like recent times. He sold merch of it.
I
If
think this
you
is just I think this is just Phil Lester branding, to be honest. I don't think that man has ever worn like matching socks in his life.
Yeah, he got me doing that. Like in my real life, I would wear mismatched socks, and I was 14,
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, because Phil does it, so I do too.
that's so chaotic.
I think I'm valid for it, and I know other people did it, so I'm gonna be nice to my
But
past
I don't
self.
understand, like, you wash your socks and then you put them away and they're in their pairs. Like, you've washed them together. So why not just pair them up?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't really care that much. I would just do it. Yeah. And sometimes you just wouldn't find the other socks, or you just wear. whatever else you found. I don't know. They were hidden.
I think you need to
It's
take better
okay.
care of your socks. You're valid, and I accept you in your sock lifestyle.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You can tell which one of us is. You can really tell which one of us is the Philly and which one's the Danny, I think.
That's just me, to be honest. That's got absolutely nothing to do with me
With
liking Dan.
Dan, yeah. But it shows, right? Like I mean, we can get into that
Yeah.
another time. But
So my next note is about, obviously, so they're going into Manchester now. And my note is, I just wrote, this is them in day-to-day life, just acting normal. Whatever that means.
what that means, they're so nice. They're like pointing out their little like inside jokes as well. Like they're like, that's the troll under the bridge or whatever, and they're like, okay, thanks. Thanks for letting us know.
But I think acting normal is in like, it's weird just seeing them do normal people things. It's like, wait, Dan and Phil go to Manchester? Like, normal people do that too. That's crazy.
No,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I think it's even like it's especially weirder for you because you like do go to Manchester a lot, or like you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's always a thing where if someone famous or whatever comes to your city or somewhere you've been and you're just kind of like, whoa, what the hell are you doing there?
Yeah.
That,
I think especially this one, like, obviously this was uploaded before I joined the fandom and stopped
Mhm.
watching them, but to then like watch it back after, and like I literally joined as they moved to London, which is completely rude, to be honest. I don't know why they did that. But then to like watch this and then go to Manchester and like, oh, like I've been to those places and like I've walked around and I've been in that shop and like I know where that shop is. And then to see them just acting like in their day-to-day life, just acting normal and doing stuff like this,
go to the
that's just what
bank.
they did. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this is bizarre.
it is. I agree. It's not very. I think this is going to keep happening to us as we watch more day in the life videos, but this one especially is just so like that's just Dan and Phil, but not like Dan and Phil DM. It's very like
Yeah,
jarring.
I think because it was obviously them like sort of pre their like big fame that they got,
Mm,
it does still feel very normal. Like they're just going into town to do some errands and pick up some money and have some lunch,
yeah.
and like that's
One
it.
one thing that like really like exemplifies that for me is like when they're in Starbucks, Dan's just kind of just like lounging on the chair as opposed
Yeah.
to sitting I mean he never sits properly on chairs anyway, but the fact that in public at like their I'm assuming it's a regular Starbucks, but maybe not. Um, and he's literally like, I own this bitch, and it's just so normal. It's such a normal guy thing. Like I wouldn't even look twice if I walked past.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I meant when I wrote they're just acting normal.
they're just like normal. I completely agree. Yeah. Uh,
Uh, we then have the appearance of some songs, because what is a Dan and Phil video without some songs?
without some songs, especially in this era, there's so many. All of the classics are from like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, they're really in their pop star era,
And their singer songwriter duo.
singer songwriter era. Yeah, the classic, obviously, Zoom on the office, people looking up on do
On
do
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 do.
do do. And like the whisper at the end, just
Classic,
going
a
like,
classic one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is the one where he goes like stir, stir, stirring? That's from. Is that from
Yeah,
this one? Or,
yeah, that is from this one. Yeah, when he's stirring the caramel macchiato in
yeah.
Starbucks.
Yes. Stir, stir, stirring. Yeah, that one's also good. I started drinking caramel macchiatos after watching this. Again, 14 years old. I was like, I want to know what this
Wow.
is. Yeah. And then began the coffee addiction. But that's fine.
Another one of my favourite quotes from Dan, and this is when they go to Affleck's Paris, Paris, Affleck's Palace, and he goes to get all the Pez, and then they're leaving. It's like, I'm going to get pezzed off my
My
tits.
tits.
I think that's just a bit, that's an
Yeah.
excellent Dan quote.
Yeah. Doesn't he this one is also the one where he talks about offering Charlie Sukul like a Pez,
Yeah.
a Pez. And
Yes.
he's like, it was really awkward and I walked away. I was just like, oh, that's so you.
I always find that bit where he says that so, like, that sort of thing, like, that whole bit gives me the ick. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because I think he definitely said that to try and, like, shoehorn it in that he knows who Charlie Sokulak is.
Oh. I don't know.
Like, I think the way he says it and, like, the way it comes across to me,
Is like a name drop?
well, the way that Phil says it, yeah, he's like subtly trying to name drop. He's like, oh, I gave Charlie a Pez once. And then Phil's like, Charlie is so cool, like, as if it's like a thing that they're trying to like name drop in.
Right,
Whether
right,
that is
right.
or not, I don't know, but that's the vibe I get, and it just makes me feel a bit ugh.
Ooh, fair enough. And then and then after that, I think they like go and look at. I think they walk past like a clothes store, and they're looking at clothes, and then and then Dan says, "Sometimes I wish I was a girl," and just comparing that to like recent times and like now,
Like, baby girl, you can wear dresses, you can wear women's
yeah,
clothes, and you
I
will look really
know.
good.
Literally, it's so true. Like, if only he could see him now. I got like,
Honestly.
I got like surprisingly like, I had to pause and be like, deep breath. Oh my god! Literally, if you could see yourself now, I feel like he would have some kind of like I think he'd just go into shock and not know what to do with
Oh,
himself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
love this Dan to meet 2023 Dan. That would be a treat.
this specific. Yeah. Yeah. I would. God. I wrote in caps lock I'm sad about like the dressing because I was just like I had so many feelings about it. I was like, you can, and I was yelling at Phil to
And
not like. I know he was joking when he said that's weird, Dan. I don't think Phil thinks that's actually weird. But I was just like, no, don't invalidate him. Let him wear a dress. It's okay.
I didn't wear a dress.
Hashtag
Hashtag let Dan wear dresses.
please
Let's get it trending, guys.
worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, the next bit is they go to Shakeaway, another iconic Dan and
Iconic.
Phil location.
A landmark. Didn't Shakeaway start
Fantastic.
selling their like
They did,
milkshake?
yeah. I got a picture of it to talk about on the podcast. So they did the Dan is Not on Fire, an amazing Phil special, which was the drinks that they got in this video.
Whoa. When you think about that, that's kind of just like they were local celebrities. Even though
Yeah,
like I feel like if you weren't on the internet, you didn't know who they were. But the fact that like just like a local milkshake shop was just like, oh, lots of people are coming in here to buy to like make these orders, so we're gonna use their names to promote.
yeah. Well,
Whoa.
so Shakeaway is a chain. Well, was a chain. It doesn't exist anymore. So
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't just the one in Manchester. There were multiple across the country.
Okay.
Now doesn't exist anymore. Rest in peace.
Rest
Goodbye,
in peace.
Shakeaway. I have been to that one in Manchester when it was open. I think like I'd been to Manchester just as I got into Dan and Phil, and I was like, oh my god, I have to go to Shakeaway.
Oh.
And then I went with a friend. There was one in Bristol, and we went together to that one. So I have been to Shakeaway.
Did you
I couldn't
order?
offer you any thoughts on it. I think I must have ordered the Dan one. Like that's such a 2012 me thing to do. So I must have done that one
Right. Right.
just to be like, I'm gonna get the Dan one because I love
Yeah, that's
Dan.
what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, rip Shakeaway. It sounds really good. Like just the fact that you can order literally anything and like they
Yeah.
would give it to you.
So my next note isn't really sort of specific to anything that they're doing or saying. I think it was just a general vibe that I picked up. But even now, like when they talk about Manchester, and you can see how they're acting in this video, they're so nostalgic for it as a place that they lived together, even though they only lived together there for a year. I mean, 2 years if you count Phil's flat that Dan did the laundry in. But I think because they formed a lot of their like first memories together as friends there, that it holds lots of like special sentimental value for them as a place and like a city. And obviously Phil was from up there anyway, so he'd go to Manchester a lot, so he's got his own memories of that. And
Yeah.
then obviously that we know that that's the first place that they
They
met
have.
and like hung out. And I think it just makes me really happy and just makes me feel like warm and gooey inside that they have so many fond memories of Manchester and they still think about it so nostalgically. It's not like just oh yeah, we lived in Manchester, it was okay, but we really wanted to move to London kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
love it as a city.
Yeah. I think they would have, if not for the BBC job, I think it would have taken them a lot longer to move to London. Um,
That's so interesting. Yeah, no, I agree.
yeah, because I think, okay, so what I think is that they eventually might have moved to London because that's where you go to for work, and like YouTube sort of became a thing anyway. But if they didn't have the BBC gig to go to, they wouldn't have moved because they were clearly doing BBC shows online, like they did the Christmas show and
Yeah.
stuff. So they could do it from Manchester. It's just that this whole like big show thing um, sort of forced them to move. I wonder if they would have stayed because they really like. I completely agree with yeah, with you.
Yeah. I think they probably would have stayed for like another year, but I think I can't. I think they both said it. I don't know where they said this, but I think it was when they were talking about moving. Well, why they moved to London. I think they both said that they'd sort of done Manchester, like they'd
Mm,
seen everything that there was there. And obviously, I think Phil says, "Oh, because I'd grown up there, like he was there every weekend." Maybe it was a Draw My Life video. If anyone knows, let me know.
mm,
So they've both felt that they'd sort of done Manchester and were ready to move on. But I think if they hadn't got the BBC gig, they maybe would have done another year there because they wouldn't have had like a reason to
to
move to London. And then I
yeah,
think they would have had another year like establishing themselves in Manchester before moving.
yeah, and also like it's just a very like to just move to a city like London that's so expensive. Um,
Yeah.
I just don't think they would have done it until they were like financially stable enough. But then they wwere like, no, we're just gonna put all
Well,
of
I
our
mean, we
savings
both,
into it. into it.
yeah, but that's what I mean. We both know, but we both know, everyone knows that they moved to London and they literally spent all of their savings on like a year's rent up front so that they could move to London. And I don't think that they would have done that if they hadn't got that BBC gig. Like, that's just a completely ridiculous financial decision to make. So I think they
Yeah,
definitely would have stayed in Manchester for another year.
yeah. My favorite part of the, I mean, it's a very popular, iconic scene as well with a very iconic quote that Dan brings up later on in life, which is Phil just frolicking near their home, I think, near some fountains,
Yeah,
and he says, "There he goes, Phil in his own little world again," or something along those lines. And it's just
a lovely little quote.
it's so cute. It's so sweet. And the fact that it just like sort of came out of him organically, just like, and it's such a fun voice as well. Oh,
Hmm.
I can't. I'm a
Lovely.
bit, yeah, lovely.
Lovely. So they're back in their flat now and they're cooking food. Call the police, alert the news. Dan and Phil are cooking food. They're cooking
They're
their own food.
they're making stir fry. They're always making stir fry. I feel
Some
like.
sort of Chinese
Yeah.
stir fry. I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but there is not a takeaway in sight.
Good for them. I feel like yeah. I mean, uh, at some point you're in between like broke student and adult with money, and you're kind of just like, oh well,
Hmm.
I can't keep getting takeaway or takeout, so I might as well just cook. I feel like that's their face. Also, I think this was like a proper like fire, like a gas stove. So maybe that's what they know how to use, but they don't know
Maybe.
how to. Just a continuation from the last episode. I don't think they know
Oh
how
yeah,
to
yeah.
use their high tech like electric hob stove situation. This is just
That would not
buttons.
surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of them eating food together, it makes me like my heart melt that they both like sit at the table to eat their food. Like, it's so like
Oh.
domestic and so cute that they're both just sat at the table eating their tea. I call it tea, not
Right. It's like tea
dinner.
time. Right. Dinner.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't
But yeah,
notice that.
I think that's
Yeah.
just really cute. Yeah, they're both
Oh.
just sat at the table.
Oh. When they could like very comfortably sit on a couch or like wherever they wanted.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But they always kind of just like sit together, which makes sense. But I don't know, for some reason, I'm just like, you could sit wherever you want in the same room. But they always
yeah.
kind of just like, oh, cute. One of my, oh, their friends cancelled on them. They were supposed to have
They're
friends over.
friends, friends,
And
guys, friends.
just,
I 1000% do not believe they had friends coming over. What friends? I don't know any friends that they had in
in
Manchester
Manchester, they
that would have come
didn't.
over to their flat. Exactly. Who was coming over to this flat? I know Phil has friends from home that lived in Manchester, but I don't believe that they were coming over to the flat. This was
Just
all a
randomly.
ruse. I think they
Yeah,
just, I think they just wanted to make it sound more interesting. What's your theory? Do you think they had friends coming over?
see, now I'm kind of like, I believed it because while he's saying it, Dan from the other room is like, "Oh, did they cancel on us?" And he's like, "Yeah, they did." Um,
It could
but
have all
also
been pre-planned,
that's
Fizz. It
that's
all could have
what
been pre-planned.
you're convincing me because they're not beyond lying. Um, but
No.
they've
Or
they,
telling an artful truth.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe they like tried to get friends over, and then I'm giving them too much benefit of the doubt. I think they lied as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
who would
they lied.
they never call friends just like that. It's always some kind of occasion that friends come over for,
Yeah,
right? And they would never they're not the type to film their like unless it's another YouTuber. Like they wouldn't just make them part of the day in the
exactly.
life video.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
We're
Right.
unraveling the conspiracy.
We're connecting dots.
We're connecting dots. This is going to be the poll on this week's episode. Do you think Dan and Phil had friends coming over or not? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Please
Oh,
remember to vote.
please do. Please join in the discussions. Um, what else? What else? Ooh, the Kinder Egg. I wrote. Oh, do you want to?
Yes, this is a good bit.
Okay. So the Kinder Egg. My note is exactly. It has nothing to do with the Kinder Egg. It says Phil is me, and in brackets I've written needs to buy something. I think because
Yeah,
his whole
the
his
same. I also.
his whole story is like, oh, I went to the shop, I didn't get what I couldn't find what I wanted, but I felt awkward to leave. I relate to that so much, and he came back with a Kinder Egg. You don't get those anymore. I'm really sad. I really miss like Kinder Eggs that are just like the egg shell. I don't know if the UK still has them.
We do still have them. I will send you some.
Thank you so much. They got rid of them here, and now it's just kind of it's called like Kinder Surprises or something. It's just like white
Oh yeah, we
chocolate.
have them. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure we still have Kinder eggs.
I want a Kinder Egg. And
I will find some and send them to you.
thank you so much. You're a true friend.
And maybe you'll get a cool dude hippo in yours.
Maybe I will. Who knows? Um, but yeah, like Dan fucking like he hurts his hand just trying to. That's the most replayed part of the video. Here's some trivia.
That's so funny.
That is so
Wow.
funny. If you go back and watch it, that's the most. I don't know what that says about the fandom that we just enjoy watching Dan
They're
get
all
hurt.
sadists. So rude.
So rude.
He goes hard though on that. He goes so hard trying to crack that open. He really wanted to make a statement.
Yeah, he's so dramatic, and then he just like hurts himself in the process.
What a silly little boy. So my next note isn't really anything to do with the video, but it's just more about them in general.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they're just like hanging out in the evening, and I'm like, I don't understand how they still have things to talk about after living together for 12 years.
Whoa.
Like, I don't understand this as a concept. Like, I'm all very much for finding like getting into a relationship, like being with someone for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But like thinking about it, I'm like, how do they still talk about things? Like, how have they not run out of conversations to have? I get worried sometimes when I'm with friends. I'm like, well, what if this is it? What if we don't have anything else to talk about
Oh my
and we're done?
god.
And they've been living together for 12
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Whoa. I think that's what like we're okay. So we as friends, I think will always have something to talk about because we're always catching up, right? Because I think yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But like
like
my
they.
friends in real life that I see all the time,
Hmm.
like, so I'm just sometimes just sat in silence with them. And it's not awkward silence, but I'm like, what is this it? Have we run out of everything to talk about? Have all of our topics been exhausted? Or are we
Whoa.
just going to be in a cycle of saying, what are you doing tomorrow? Oh, I'm doing this. What did you do last week? And Dan and Phil don't have that because they live together. So what do they talk about, Fizz? All the time.
They say things like flop and flute and plaque, and they text each other these
Food.
things. Flute.
I was saying that the other day. I think that is my Roman Empire, my Dan and Phil thing. I say that all the time.
Flute.
Actually, no, my Dan and Phil Roman Empire is the from the festive day in the life, which I have
Mm-hmm.
mentioned before on the podcast, where Dan opens the recipe book and is a picture of a dog, and he's like, "Where are the recipes in this book?" That's my Roman Empire. I say that at least once a week.
Ooh, what's mine? Oh my god, oh my god. Once a week, what do I think about? Or like often? Uh, God. There's like certain things where, ooh, sometimes I like, there's not, I don't know if this counts as a Roman Empire, but there's certain dance screams of frustration that are certain like tone and cadence or whatever. And I sometimes just
Mm-hmm.
replicate that. I just go like, what? Instead of going just like, you know what I mean? Like he goes like very high when he says
No, no, I get what
what.
you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of them, I guess. Like just general Dan anger, but like very
Isms.
specific. Yeah, yeah. I have
But
this
no,
note.
I say fruit a
Yeah.
lot. Fruit.
I have a note which you might like. Which is literally just Dan's face has changed heart. He looks older. Do you not think so?
Older now.
No, older in
Yeah.
this video.
From when compared to the
Compared to,
compared to now,
I think
compared to the previous video.
no. Compared to the last time we saw him in Christmas Cookies, I don't know why. In like, his face just looks
Do you know
different
what?
to
Actually,
me.
yeah. No, I agree. I
It looks
agree.
squish.
Actually.
It looks squishier, I will say. I don't know if the dimple was just like dimpling or what, but specifically the shot or the where they were trying out the Twinkie and the camera is so close to his face, not so close, but it's closer to his face than it has been the entire time. And he did like
Mm-hmm.
the little tongue out smile, and you know the one.
Yeah,
Charlotte knows the one.
I know the
It's like
one.
yes,
I know
yes.
the one.
He just looks suddenly very old to me, or older
Maybe it's
than
because he's nearly 21.
maybe.
His age is catching up with him.
He's the old haggard age of 21. Oh,
No, I agree though. Now you said that, yeah, I think he does
just at
look
least
a
a
lot
little bit.
older and a lot different than he did in the Christmas cookies video.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a haircut. Who knows?
Maybe. And then we come to my last note is obviously we see Phil editing the videoception.
Ooh.
And then the clip of Phil playing the keyboard in Dan's room, and we get a little glimpse of the little bit of paper on the keyboard that says the rules.
I was gonna ask you, do you know what, like, does anyone know what it says? Has that been
So
analyzed?
I used to have a Google Doc where somebody had like super mega enhanced it and like traced over it, and we'd got some sort of semblance of maybe like the first few. I can't find the Google Doc anymore, so I will ask around and see if some friends have got it.
That's
But I think it
history.
was stuff like, yeah, I think it was stuff like Phil isn't allowed to touch the keyboard and like some other like silly things like that.
Oh my god, he's blatantly breaking that rule. If it was that, just like, um. But isn't that okay? So wasn't we said that Dan doesn't have a MacBook, but isn't that an iMac in his room? Is that like a shared iMac
Yes, it
that
is.
they
Maybe. I'm wondering, I don't know if that is his or if it's Phil's
fills?
or if it's like a joint purchase. Because they still only have. No, they used to have two iMacs, I think, because they had one when they moved to London. I'm sure that Dan had one in his room. So maybe that is Dan's, yeah. Because Dan had
Maybe.
one in his room at a desk. And
Wow.
then I think they had one in the gaming room, the gaming channel room.
The gaming channel
But I think,
room. Yeah.
yeah. And they still have two now because I think they've got one in their new office, the office, if you will.
The office that they should.
I saw someone call it out on Twitter. Just saying it out loud is ridiculous. Yeah, they have one in the office in their new house. And then they've also got, like, I think it's a weird little desk in their dining room or something, which we have seen in some videos and, like, some photos. They've got the iMac in there. So they still have two iMacs.
Okay, so they're like they've upgraded. They have two, but at this point they have
Yeah,
one,
I don't know why.
and Phil just like edits in Dan's room. I guess. I guess they just like
Yeah.
hang out. I imagine Dan's
Yeah.
just in bed doing whatever, and Phil's just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna edit a video now." That's fun. It's
Yeah.
very cute. I like now have this image in my head, and it's just very sweet.
Very reminiscent of making of, tabbing off the whole fruit. We come back to that.
We come back, we're circling back.
We circle back to fruit.
God. You have to say it like that as well. You can't just be like flute. You have to be like
Yeah. Fruit.
fruit.
Fruit. That's all my notes for the video. Do you have any final thoughts?
I have. Oh, we see. Like, I mean, I really like Dan's sort of room setup, and I've written that I like that he has a cool mode, which is something that has sort of come around back. This is very boring, but in like room trends and stuff nowadays, kids also just like have fairy lights all around their
Yeah.
room, and they don't use it. Like currently, right now, I don't have my big light on. I just have a bunch of fairy lights on.
Very wholesome. Very cute.
Thank you. And I just think Dan is on fire, paved the way for that. I think he started that trend. I think
He was the trendsetter.
yes, I think he's a pioneer in night mode rooms. I think he gets it.
He gets the vibes.
Yeah. Um, that's almost. I mean, they tried the Twinkie, which was really bad. Dan said there's a lot of cream in his mouth, which was very funny.
Yeah, we're not going to unpack that. We'll move on swiftly from that. But yeah, they tried
Yeah.
the Twinkie.
um,
It was all just, everything they did was just very like normal things. Do you know what I mean? As I
yeah.
said before in my quote, this is them in day-to-day life, just acting normal.
You were so right when you made that note. Yeah. No, but seriously, like if this was your first Dan and Phil video, first of all, that's awesome. But like if that was your first and only Dan and Phil video, you just assume that this is what they have always been like and will always be like. Like these are just
Yeah.
some guys, very much some guys. Um,
The some guy's energy is strong in this video.
very strong. Like this is not Dan and Phil DM at all.
Okay, so that was the video. We move on to our final new section of the podcast where we discuss their outfits.
Yes.
Welcome to Charlotte's Outfits Corner. Do 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 do. Firstly, Dan's lounge top, cold beer, hot women. 1 trillion out of 10. No notes.
No notes. Just
Absolutely not at all.
his best t-shirt. His best casual
His
t-shirt.
best t-shirt.
Yeah.
His best casual t-shirt.
And
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely iconic.
I hope he's kept it. I know he hasn't, but I in my heart, I hope he's kept it.
2023, Dan in that top would change lives.
It would be so camp. I think it would be so funny if he had it and he wore it. It was
That would be so good. I'd love that.
it only made like a second appearance in the what not to do when you get sick or what to do when you get sick. The
Yes.
sickness video that he did. Which makes me think he only wore it when he was gross and not like just on just around the house.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Dan's second outfit, his bear jumper
Billion
that he's
billion,
wearing for the
zillion.
rest of the video.
Love it.
Very
so,
cute. Very.
so cute. But is it
I didn't give it
best?
a billion out of 10. I gave it an 8 out of 10. But I still like it. But it's very of the time. Very like, oh, that's a cute jumper with a bear in it.
I guess.
I'm going to buy it. But I still like it. It's still very nice.
Yes. Yes, yeah. But I don't know. I think he looked very cute and cuddly in it. So I
It
think
does
I'm
look very
basing
cute
it.
in it.
I am basing it off like how cute he looked in it. I think, but objectively,
I mean,
it is
that's a
just
great
like
way.
yeah. Objectively, it is just like a jumper with a bear on it. I would buy it. I have a jumper with a wolf on it, so it's very me. I think.
Very
Which
you.
which is why I would give it a billion out of 10. I don't remember Phil's. I just know that he's wearing is he wearing the iconic Amazing Phil New York t-shirt?
No, so it's
Ooh.
the OMFG t-shirt.
Yes. Famously, it was
That has
turned
the
into
pictures on it.
Famously, it was turned
OMEG?
into OMG on the BBC radio live show. But yeah, with
Yeah.
the cats, that's very off the time. I would give that like a
Very of the time. I've given it a 4 out of 10. I'm not a fan. I say this, I used to have lots of like graphic t-shirts like that, but again, it's just so off the time.
off the time.
I'm not a fan of Phil's graphic t-shirts, his older ones. Some of them were okay. A lot of them were a miss. This was a miss for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Not a fan. Some of his graphic t-shirts now that he's got, definitely more my vibe and more enjoyable, but they're still, some of them still very questionable choices.
No, I like how Phil dresses now a lot more. This one I would give like 6 on 10. I like it for how iconic it is. I don't yeah, same, like it's very off the time. It would probably become like a sleep t-shirt to me at this point if it's not
Yeah.
already in the charity bin. But yeah. You know.
Yeah, so we come on to our ratings of the video. Fizz, tell me and the listeners how many shreddies out of 10 you would give this video.
I thought you were gonna say Twinkies, but for shreddies, I would give this video like an 8.5 out of 10. I think like it's
Wow.
super nostalgic. Yeah, like I think it's super nostalgic. It makes me really happy. I can quote it like word for word. So for all of those reasons, I think it deserves a high rating. But I take a few points off, just for kind of like there's a couple of jokes in there here and there where I'm just like. maybe don't say that now. But it's a solid video. So, what about you, Charlotte? How many shreddies out of 10?
I think I'm going to give it a full 10 out of 10 shreddies.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think for me, it's such a like classic Dan and Phil video. And if someone was like, oh, what Dan and Phil videos should I watch? I've never seen them before. I'd instantly tell them to watch all of the Day in the Lives. It's definitely not the best day in the life that we've got, but I'd still say to people to watch it. And I just think it's like peak nostalgic, iconic Dan and Phil. So yeah,
Nice
10 out of
try.
10 shreddies from me.
Oh my god. I was gonna say, are you giving it a full kilogram box of shreddies?
I'm giving it a full kilogram box of shreddies, yes.
For a family of 10 or just a Dan and Phil?
Or just a Dan and Phil.
Oh my god. Oh, I feel kind of bad now, but I know there's better day in the lives. I think that's also why I'm
Yeah.
like there is
It's
one.
also obviously a very subjective 10 out of 10. So
Yes, obviously, hey,
there
this is
are
not.
Day in the Lives that I prefer to this one, but
Yeah.
I feel like I can't. It is like a perfect classic Dan and Phil video.
Yeah, it's kind of like the first Phil is on Fire in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, feels kind of wrong ranking it 8.5 now, but I'm gonna stick to it. I've let go of my.
Stick to your guns. If people
Yeah.
attack you for it, Fizz, I will stand up for you.
Thank you so much. All right, so that was Day in the Life of Phil and Dan. We are. Ooh, the next episode is kind of funny because it's also a mini day in the life. It's Terrifying Baby Woman, and I think it's a second channel video. Yeah, it is
Yes, I
Less
think it
Amazing
is.
Phil. Yeah. Uh,
That's
which
exciting.
yeah, so we're staying in vlogland. We're staying in casual vibes. But yeah, that'll be the next episode. Thank you all for listening
Yeah.
to this one.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you to all of you who have listened to our last episode as well, the 2023 Halloween baking. That was so much fun to record. We
It
had a hoot.
was. Yes, it was so chaotic and so fun. Um, but yeah, thank you all for listening to this one as well. We'll see you next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.